Welcome in to the Illini Inquirer podcast. It is Jeremy Werner, Joey Wagner, one last time for the regular season for Illinois football, and it ends with an unforgettable win. Anybody who was here at Memorial Stadium in Snowmageddon 2025, which turned into melting snow in the second half, will remember this forever because it was one weird game. A lot of tosses and turning in this game, Joey, and it ends with Illinois led by its defense beating Northwestern 20-13 to improve to 8-4, get a Big Ten winning season at 5-4 in conference play. And it just feels a heck of a lot better than 7-5, Joey, and back-to-back losses. So Illinois gets the hat back, Landon Lincoln Trophy. They were celebrating on the snow berms here that were built up. Kudos to the facilities crew. We'll talk all about it, Joe. But huge win for this Illinois team, huge win for this Illinois program, huge win for the senior class. Some great performances from the senior class today and a big bounce back for the defense. But this one we will remember. Like sometimes you got to go back and go through these games like, oh, yeah, this happened at that game. This one will be memorable because of the elements.
Yeah, it will be. It's one of those you walked up like, this sucks. This is a really miserable day outside, and I say that from two people who parked in the press box for 4 hours before the game and didn't watch anything. Like this was the first time I sat in the press box and I couldn't see State Farm Center. I couldn't see the indoor practice facility. And like, I think anyone who's been in Memorial Stadium knows, like, these seats, it's all a window, right? You see everything. The visibility was bad. The wind was bad. The snow was like, the tractors were struggling to keep up because it just kept pouring down. So yeah, I mean, it lightened up a little bit at half. You'll remember that one. That was we talked before the game, like, man, whoever wins this is going to have a hell of a fun memory, and whoever loses is going to be pissed off that it snowed so bad for a whole
just
day.
Miserable.
Yeah,
just miserable. And any of the fans, shout out to the fans who did show up. They put them all on the west side, which I thought was really smart. They had a band in the north end zone, so it was actually a decent atmosphere when you were on the field. But boy, that had to be a miserable first half. 9 inches of snow, I think, is what we officially had by the end of this. The most snow they've ever had at Memorial Stadium in a game at Illinois. The first snow game for Illinois since 1993. I was 6 years old, Rick, rocking out to Ace of Base. I saw the sign at the time, Joey. So that was a long, long time ago. But yes, it's memorable in a good way because Illinois got the victory. And it feels so much different. And talking to some Illinois staffers after the game, it's true. It just feels so much different to end the season with 3 of 4 wins and going to probably Nashville or Las Vegas in a bowl game than ending with back-to-back losses to Wisconsin and Northwestern. That was meaningful. I think that's meaningful for how we look back on the season. And for the first time in program history, Illinois has won 8 games in 3 or 4 years. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a huge step forward for this program and where they're going. And today wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty, and there were some things that, like, whoa, that has to be better. Like that really almost cost you guys in a big way. And before we get into that, like, I do think it's fair to zoom out and to look at kind of where this program has gone under Brett Bielema. And the reason people are frustrated by, not being in the college football playoffs is he thought it was possible, or not getting 9 wins because he thought it was possible. And that doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean the season's gone according to script or according to hope. It doesn't mean that this game was a perfect game. But at the end of the day, 8 wins for the third time in 4 years. You're going to go to, I would imagine, like, Nashville feels like it makes a ton of sense to me to go to a bowl game there. Like, those are days that you wanted. Doesn't mean there's nowhere else to go forward, because there is. And I think everybody acknowledges that inside of the program. But man, this is a heck of a step forward for this program.
Yeah, you've solidified yourself now 3 out of the last 4 years as a top half Big Ten program, right? If you would have told me that when Brett Bielema came here, that's huge. And you've now taken over this rivalry. Illinois had lost 6 straight to Northwestern. I think it was 10 of 14 at one point, or 15 of 19 or something like that. Ridiculous. Like, Northwestern just owned you. You've now won 4 of 5. And it hasn't always been the prettiest, but you're winning those games, and that's huge. So you've kind of gotten to that second, third tier of the Big Ten, of a loaded Big Ten, with a victory like this and getting to a good bowl game. So it's definitely a step in the right direction. Well, let's get into our hits and misses, Joey. If you're live on our YouTube channel, send in those super chats. We'll answer your questions. We will talk about the offseason. We'll talk about the negatives of this game. But let's start with the positive. Aaron Henry's defense responded, and Aaron Henry's defense is the reason Illinois won this game. I hated the touchdown where you gave up over the top. It was a miscommunication. Tanner Heckle looked like he was part of it because Miles Scott did not look very happy after that one. I hated only rushing 3 on that play. I hated another 3rd and long that was converted. But in the second half, this group stepped up time after time when your offense couldn't do anything. Joe couldn't run the ball. Luke Altmaier did not have a strong second half. And you find a way to get 3 takeaways out of 4 in the game. Gabe Akis wrecked a couple drives. What a response for this defense. They are the reason Illinois won a game, and we've been waiting for that for most of the season. Played well against Maryland and Rutgers, but they were definitely the reason they won this game. That's what you need. You need complementary football. The offense has been picking up the defense all of the last 2 years for the most part, and now the defense finally goes out and wins a game like that. Huge.
Yeah, they finally won. They got takeaways that we had been talking about that this defense just hadn't got. You come out with 3 interceptions, 2 from Miles Scott. We'll get into Miles Scott in a minute. You get the 1 from Torrey Cox, which was tipped by James Crute, and Leon Lowry recovers a fumble that, frankly, that's the fumble that last week sat on the turf in Madison for Wisconsin to pick up, right? That was 4th down, so probably would have ultimately ended up Illinois' ball anyway. But you get those things, and the second half defense was much better than the first half. I did not like, as you mentioned, that touchdown that just flew right over the head of Mac Resetich. There were times I did not understand the rotation plan for Gabe Akis. He was dominating. He dominated an entire drive. He had the sack. He had another pressure. Just absolutely crushed everything on that drive. The offense doesn't go 3 and out. They put something together, and he's not on the field the first 4 plays of the next drive. I don't understand that. I just that guy has. I'm sure he's got more of a tank than that. I understand wanting to keep guys fresh, but he's your game changer right now. Defensively, I would have liked to see him out there more. But then they buckled down, and they had to buckle down. The moment was really, the Torrey Cox interception that really stopped Northwestern from having what looked like a pretty comfortable chance to double dip, whether that was 6-10 or 14, however that would have played out. And then that goal line stand, Luke Altmaier turns it over. Northwestern gets it at the 1, and you hold them out of the end zone. I didn't know that this defense had that. I didn't know they had that buckle in them to hold them out of the end zone. In that moment, big TFL for Dylan Rosiak on 1st down. You might have to help me through.
This was 1st and goal. And listen, Northwestern screwed up that play. They had their 4th string running back, who was a tight end in the game, Preckle, who played pretty well. Tough runner, played pretty well. Their offensive line, I thought, played pretty well for most of the game as well. But he went the wrong way in the handoff. That's why Dylan Rosiak was able to stop him for 3 yards. But that was a great stunt. Tommy Wadurajaye kind of cleared the way for Rosiak, came through the A-gap. So I think Rosiak would have gotten a stop there regardless, Joey, but he went for negative yards. But Rosiak made the play. He made the tackle, wrapped him up, got him down, and then they held Northwestern to 1 yard on the next 2 passing down plays. So that's huge. And I didn't know about Northwestern. I don't know why they wouldn't have gone for it on 4th and 3 and tried to score the touchdown, but they settled for the field goal. What a moment. That was a huge moment. They put out a fire. And then time after time, 3 and out for Illinois. Illinois gets a interception by Miles Scott. Another 3 and out for Illinois. They settle for a field goal, and the defense gets a Miles Scott interception the next drive. Just time after time. They stood tall. Even the end of the game, Joey. Northwestern gets the ball with 1:38 left. The chance to go down. I'm sitting there in the north end zone with you, and I say, if Northwestern scores a touchdown, I bet they go for 2 and try to win this game. And you're thinking, old Illinois, if it's old Illinois, they over and over again, that would have happened. Instead, they forced 4 straight incompletions once Northwestern got it into their territory. And listen, Preston Stone was not good tonight. He was not very good, but Illinois took advantage of it, and they made the plays when they had to, and they forced some of the plays. Like Gabe Akis, that was forcing the plays. James Crute's tip ball, another deflection they're able to pick up for an interception. So the plays they hadn't been getting, the plays that had kind of been there, the deflections, the fumbles on the turf. I know they didn't pick up the one by Malachi Hood, but they finally made those plays that you've been waiting for all year, just some game changers. They saved them all up for this game, Joey.
Yeah, game changers, negative plays. I think Illinois had a handful. I need to go back and look exactly. A handful of negative plays. It just felt like it set Northwestern back a little bit. The drive that ended with the botched snap from Preston Stone that Leon Lowry fell on, they had 3 takeaways, really, in that drive. Gabe Akis chased down Preston Stone for literally across hash to sideline across the field. It was a spectacular effort by Gabe Akis to put that pressure on there. Stone throws an interception to Tanner Heckle. They review it. His knee was down. Then the fumble that sits there. Northwestern recovers. Like at that moment, you feel like, oh boy, they are going to find a way to do this because this is what you've seen the last couple of games, right? You've seen that ball sit there, give that other team a chance, and they made a play. Then obviously the botched snap, and really the stop to get them in 4th and 1 was good. I thought they responded, and they, for the most part, Jeremy, I think that's one of the big things I took from this is for the most part this season, they responded after really bad games. Defense in particular, like after Indiana, I didn't have the biggest issue with the defense against USC. Late, obviously, that was a good quarterback and a really good wide receiver picking on a newish starter, a young player in Tanner Heckle, and Malachi Lemon's a tough cover. But I thought the defense responded well in that game. You come after the Washington, just total disaster. You get a Rutgers team that moved the ball pretty well prior to that game. I thought the defense played well in that. You come after the Washington or the Wisconsin game, and you do this. Like, you do have to take what the other team gives you. And those other teams gave the Illinois defense opportunities to have that. But I did think, for the most part, as you look at the season as a whole, they responded well enough after things were really pretty ugly coming into that. Washington much more ugly than this, but point stands.
The problem is you got to take away those ugly games. Like, those ugly games are happening
absolutely
too much. They're happening too much for this defense. Those got to go away. They got to address the talent. But listen, Bielema didn't talk like a guy who's going to fire his defense coordinator. We didn't ask him directly today. We'll ask him directly as the offseason goes along. But he sounded like a guy that was very proud of his defensive staff. So we'll see in the coming weeks what he has to do there. I still think there's a case to reassess and look for an upgrade, because over the last 3 years, 2 of the years have not been good enough. But boy, they've been good enough 3 out of the last 4 games. I wish they were good enough against Wisconsin to give yourself a chance, but the offense wasn't good and the special teams weren't good in that game either. So I don't think Bielema put that game on his defense. So the Aaron Henry conversation we can continue to talk about, but his group responded today. Let's go to the next hit. I thought the senior defenders, man, the guys who have just been the heart and soul of this program, team captains, really stepped up. We brought up Dylan Rosiak, a tackle and a half for loss today. Miles Scott, 2 interceptions. He came close to a hat trick. I think he also had 2 pass breakups, Joey, today. So what a game for him. Illinois, 9 pass breakups today. But Gabe Akis, man, you wish he didn't get that sack, so Tanner Heckle could have gotten the interception to really change that one. But yeah, like, just huge moment after huge moment from Gabe Akis. He's their top NFL draft prospect. And now after today, Joey, 2 big milestones for Gabe Akis. One, he went to 11 sacks for the season. He's now just the 5th player in Illinois history to get 10 sacks in a season. Some pretty good players are on that list. Simeon Rice did it twice. Whitney Merciless did it once. Mike Pulaski and Scott Davis. So to be in that crew is pretty unbelievable. Hell of a year for Gabe Akis. And he's also, the second thing, he's the Big Ten leading sacker in the regular season. So he's likely a first-team all-Big Ten player. I know there were moments in the middle of the season where he didn't show up. I thought that was more because the coverage and the scheme didn't allow him to get after it. What a phenomenal senior season for Gabe Akis. I think today might have been his last game in an Illini uniform. You asked him about it afterwards. I'll let you talk about that. But what an exclamation point for Gabe Akis to end his Illini career.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. The thing that might hurt him on the all Big Ten teams are ballots that have already been sent in before today. I think that
anyone who did, as an all Big Ten voter, myself, anybody who did that doesn't deserve
for shame. For shame.
You got to wait until the final game. We got till Sunday night to turn those in. You got to wait until all the games are played. So if anybody's doing that, they're idiots.
Yeah, 100% agree. The seniors really came out and played well. I'm glad that Kevin brought up a point here. We'll call him a senior defender for the sake of this particular play. Hank Beatty defended getting that fumble out of bounds to save a possession for Illinois where it salvaged field goal. Obviously, he is not a defender, but that was a huge play from a senior and a heady play from a senior to do that. But Gabe Akis, just when he destroys a drive, like when he gets a play, I have to go back and look at it. It feels like when he gets a sack, he's destroying the rest of that drive. Like when that motor is just going, he is just wrecking drives as soon as he gets a negative play, and he did that tonight. Miles Scott, that's a really cool story, man. Like, that is a really, really cool story for someone who didn't have anything out of high school. He goes to prep school, is a walk-on wide receiver at Illinois, switches to DB, his first game ever as a DB, Toledo. He gets that pick to to win that opening game that you'll remember was much tighter than I think most of us thought it was going to be. Comes out with 2 interceptions tonight at just huge times. Like, those weren't empty calorie any interceptions. Illinois needed those because the offense could not put Northwestern away. That's a hell of a performance from those two guys in their last game here. And I would imagine, my gut is that probably Gabe Akis' last game playing for Illinois. He didn't say that directly, said he'd have to make those decisions. That's a question for another day. I watched him hug some staffers on his way out of the building, and that kind of tells me a little bit. So maybe he'll surprise me, but that felt like if that was it for Gabe, he went out with a pretty big game.
What a great eval. What a great recruiting win over Tennessee at the end. It'd be interesting if they play Tennessee in Nashville. If Gabe would be a part of that, even if he just shows up for it. What a big moment that was for the program. And Miles Scott, man, it's just – all right, Joey, Bears-Packers, we're going to be hated rivals this week. But Kevin Byard is just making these plays. He's kind of that old guy who's not like the best athlete, all that, but just reads things incredibly well. It's just the last year and a half, I've been waiting for Miles Scott to make more of those plays, those reads, reading the quarterback's eyes. And maybe it's just because the quarterbacks Illinois has been playing this year are just so damn good. But when Preston Stone, he was reading him so well all night. He was close to 4 picks tonight. Again, he had his hands on four passes and got 2 of them. It's just that was so cool for him to end his career like that, being that ball hawk, being that free safety that we've kind of grown to know in this defense. And I know he's capable because he's one of the smartest players, one of the best leaders on this team, but it just felt like just didn't make enough plays. And for him to last game in the stadium to end on that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. All of his interceptions, in fact, have come at Memorial Stadium.
What a stat.
The only one that almost –
memorable ones.
That's right. The one that almost changed that was the Rutgers near pick, the Pat Bryant game, where they actually called it and then overturned the interception. But, yeah, all of them happened here. 3 this season, the one on the end of half Hail Mary that he's going to get credit for. But that was pretty empty calorie. But today was much needed for Miles Scott.
All right, Joey, I'll let you go. Hit or miss?
Oh, David Illini was a hit for me.
Huge.
I mean, look, it sucked outside. It sucked. And to knock in those 2 field goals, I understand why Brett Bielema didn't want to kick the one on the opening drive. In retrospect, you'd like the points. That's easy to do in retrospect, right? But the wind was swirling. It was really coming in from that side. I mean, I'm still sitting here watching this mist just float around and circle. I mean, it was tough conditions to make kicks out there. And then the touchbacks on the kickoffs going into the north end zone. Those points, I mean, that's 6 points. Those were huge points and really, I mean, truly awful kicking conditions. Like, I don't know how many teams have how many coaches have the confidence to try to kick her out there in those. Like, that says a lot about where Brett Bielema believes in David Illini is, because there are some games where just forget it. 5 yards is a better opportunity here for us than to try to send out a kick, and Brett Bielema trusted Illini.
Yeah, no, I liked him going for it on 4th and – well, the problem is that 3rd and 5 when Valentine got 0 yards on that opening drive. That was the play that killed you. But Dixon slipped on the 4th down, and that was kind of it. But, I didn't mind going for it because that wind at that moment of the game and the snow was absolutely insane. And to be honest with you, I just like being a little bit aggressive. Well, 4th and 3 or 4th and goal at the 3, and David Braun didn't go for it. Just felt like a huge missed opportunity because they never got closer to the goal line. I guess they did when they got the fumble recovery, but it just felt like you're not going to get that close all the time. So I like that Illinois was aggressive there. It obviously backfired on them, but to make those 2 field goals, like the 49-yarder, man, or 47-yard, whatever it was, that was a huge kick with the wind at his back, but the wind was swirling, and then to kick it into the wind like that for a huge field goal just to save 3 points out of what was a disastrous was that the flea flicker drive?
Yes.
The flea flicker drive to save 3 points out of that was huge for that 47-yarder. And then late in the game, 4th quarter, to get a field goal to give you a chance, man, like huge. Special teams has been up and down all season. We'll talk more about it, but David Illini's a hell of a kicker. He'll probably be on my All Big Ten ballot.
Yeah, absolutely. And just because CJ in our chat is very frustrated with seemingly the game and being a fan of Illinois. I'll get to a miss real quick since we're talking specialists. I thought that was the brightest spot of Illinois special teams tonight. Keelan Crimmins had a difficult task in punting, and I know he was punting with the wind. The wind got some once he punted to the north end zone. The 3 touchbacks, like you didn't win the field position battle on those by not snagging that before it fell into the end zone. Like that was a miss for me. Is you've got to find a way to pin them deep, to make them uncomfortable. That offense, Northwestern's offense, wasn't firing on all cylinders. They were down to their running back. Preston Stone was struggling. You got to make it uncomfortable for them. They didn't do that. And then I thought early in the game there were 2 kick returns Khalil Valentine brought out that just wave and fair catch it. One started at the 18, one at the 17. A game like this, like that is 7 and 8 yards. You've got to have those. Like, and that is it was really an interesting decision. Both were well short of the end zone. You still could have fair caught it and got it out to the 25. That was an aggression from the kick return unit that we haven't really seen a great deal this year. It just felt with the way that things were going, I would rather just take it at the 25 and not worry about it.
Yeah, the kick returns bother me honestly more than the punts, because the punts, man, like some of them were really good punts that the wind just got a hold of and took it like 3, 4, or 5 yards farther than it probably normally would have gone. So that was a tough punting night. And to be honest with you, you put a couple down where it's like, somebody's got to be around.
Let's say it wasn't all Crimmins for me. Like Crimmins, I thought did what was asked of him. He didn't shank any. I would like to see the coverage team had been able to at least given yourself a chance to pin those inside the 10, inside the 5. I didn't mean to put that on Crimmins because he executed what was asked of him. And the wind took some of it, but just a hand-on one to make me feel like maybe there was a chance to do it would have gone a long way.
I hated the kick returns. They made me nervous. I didn't like taking big hits on those and ball security. I was just nervous about them. But yeah, the punt team has been an issue all year, right? Like, especially in some losses and close games, it's just really been an issue for Illinois. So they got to get that definitely cleaned up. But kudos to Lane Hansen. Kudos to, does Mahoney do the field goals now, or is it still Lane Hansen?
I'd have to go back and look.
But the snappers, great today, and it was a tough day, and the snappers have not always been good this year. Crimmins with the holds on those field goals. So just the field goal operation, really, really big kudos to those guys. I'll go with another miss. The second half run game was atrocious. I thought the first half, phenomenal. Illinois averaged about 5 yards per carry in the first half, really dominated the line of scrimmage, was phenomenal. And then the second half, 1.7 yards per carry. Northwestern was getting disruption, especially on the interior throughout that second half. And I just didn't think the offensive line blocked it up very well and just didn't give the running backs much of a chance. And it put Illinois in like second and long, third and long. And we can talk about Luke Altmaier here in a moment, but I didn't think the run game set up Illinois for any kind of offensive success. And those drives, man, were so short. It just put your defense back on the field time after time. And kudos to the defense for making those plays. But Illinois had, all right, it's drives in the second half here, Joey. They had a field goal in the first one, 5 plays, 3 plays, 3 plays, 4 plays after the interception set them up for a field goal, 3 plays, and then the last play was just a down. But that's atrocious. Did not control the ball whatsoever, barely got any first downs.
Yeah, 1.7 yards in the second half. The best thing that happened to Illinois' offense the second half, Northwestern's offense really struggled, and your defense played well. It wasn't even just like the yardage, but just getting a first down or 2 on some of those, and all of a sudden you're burning so much more time off the clock. I thought they ran
4
the ball.
First downs, 4 in the second
half. Yes, which was surprising because they ran the ball, I thought, incredibly. They were moving people. Khalil Valentine had bursts. I thought Aiden Lawfrey had a lot of bursts in that first half, and you thought, okay, this looks like the Wrigley Field game from last year, right? Like they are really moving. J.C. Davis had some movement. Tanner Arkendell, briefly, the usual movers of humans, right? Like I thought they did a good job. So to see it just totally fall off in the second half when the field was clear, like the first half field was a total nightmare. It was so much more clear. Shout out to the grounds crew. We'll get into them. But yeah, that was just because you couldn't get the run game, you couldn't just put that final nail in the game, right? And you just kept leaving the door open. You couldn't quite get into field goal range, which was obviously very limited. with the wind. You couldn't shave off more time. You couldn't obviously punch it in the end zone. You get that going a little bit, and all of a sudden you feel like those third and longs that happened in the second half, those are cut down a little bit more in conditions that weren't really good. I mean, the field was clear, it was wet, so obviously you're going to have some trouble there, but it's really disappointing in the way that second half went. I saw someone said, they say that's what everyone was talking about the second half. The field was clear. Northwestern was practically throwing it all over the place just to make sure we are watching the same game. Northwestern threw for 91 yards in the second half. So, I mean, neither offense really – that's right. Neither offense really did anything in the second half. You just would have liked to see Illinois carry it a little bit more than what it did.
Northwestern in the second half, just let me get the stat here, 10 of 23 for 91 yards and 2 interceptions.
Yeah,
not a very good passing. That's under 4 yards.
Well, listen, someone in the chat says they were throwing it all over, so I don't know what you saw, but that was –
You're right, though. They had so many chances, the offense, to deal the knockout blow, right? They get that 3 and out to start the third quarter. Malachi Hood, tackle for loss, gave back his pressure, forces an incompletion. And that flea flicker, man, that's a huge miss for me. That flea flicker call, listen, if it works, we're celebrating it. But they had a huge catch to Colin Dixon, 2nd and 6. It was Luke Altmaier's best throw of the day. He and Hudson Clement had a good connection earlier in the game too. But it's like, all right, Illinois, they could – after that Torrey Cox interception, you get that touchdown, you stop Northwestern. This is where you take control of the game, score a touchdown, and that could be game, right? Well, that flea flicker happens. You lose 25 yards. Kudos to Altmaier, 2 throws to set up that David Olano field goal you make, but that's still just a 7-point game at that point. So it felt like a huge win for Northwestern. Northwestern 3 and out. Illinois punts after a delay of game penalty, right? And then Northwestern turns it over again, and then Illinois turns it over right back. It's just like every time your defense gave you a chance to put this game away, they didn't. And kudos to the defense. They shut the door for Illinois, but man, the offense just did not bring it in the second half.
No, I'm glad you mentioned the flea flicker. Like, obviously, we've talked about that, but I do want to point, like, when we say the 1.7, 25 were lost on that flea flicker. So, like, going into that, that's what kind of made that play. You're right. If it works, we're celebrating it. We're not even having this discussion right now, but it kind of made it feel like, why is this happening right now? Let me just read you the yardage on before that play on that drive after they get the 3 and out. Khalil Valentine, 22-yard run. Khalil Valentine, 6-yard run. Khalil Valentine, 5-yard run. Melvin Peasley called for a hold. You're set at 1st and 20. Khalil Valentine, 4-yard run. Then you get 18 on that pass to Dixon, and then the flea flicker. So I think the thing that, like that, they tried it as like a double reverse. It felt like they were still moving the ball on the ground at that point in time. So that's why I didn't get it. And I get it. It's easy to have this discussion in hindsight, but they were still able to get 4, 5, 6, and the big one, 22 on that. So this is just kind of an interestingly timed call.
Yeah. Another miss. Luke Altmaier's second half was not good. 2 fumbles, lost the 1 inside the 5, just kind of carrying that ball loose. And he missed Hudson Clement on an easy crosser that would have been a first down, would have prolonged a drive. Just not a clean half. Like, I got a story coming out for Luke Altmaier. I'm so pumped to write it about his impact on the program and just the program's impact on him. What a career for Luke Altmaier. Just not the best game from him today, especially in that second half. I thought the first half, Joey, phenomenal. Like he hooked up with Hudson Clement, Colin Dixon on a few phenomenal throws. Just wasn't there in the second half, and the ball security was an issue, which hadn't been an issue all year. So obviously wet field, terrible conditions, but just got to make sure you rack up that ball, especially on a day like today.
Yeah, the wet field, the conditions obviously on that. The one that really you're like, whoa, this is not like him, was missing Hudson Clement on that crosser route there, because there was no pressure on him. I'm trying to find the exact play that it was, but that just wasn't kind of what we've seen. Excuse me, what we've seen out of Luke Altmaier to that point. So yeah, that was on one of those 3 and outs after Northwestern gets a field goal to get within 4, 17-13, midway through the fourth quarter.
It came after what probably should have been a pass interference on Hank Beatty. I didn't get to see the replay, but I know Illinois was really wanting that one. So that kind of screwed up the drive. He was on 3rd and 9.
No, the 13, that was on 2nd and 7 was the Hudson play. The next play, I think, was a pass interference on Hank Beatty. It's just what I have written down.
Well, when he fumbled, the play before
the
was
fumble. Yes.
before the fumble was
Yes.
the Hank Beatty play. But yeah, I mean, Luke Allmeier's awesome. He's the reason Illinois has won 18 games the last 2 years. But just second half, the ball security was an issue and just missed a couple throws.
Yeah, the ball security, that, again, we haven't seen that out of him of late. It was something you saw a lot in 23, 24. Hadn't really seen that this season. It came at inopportune times. And, again, the defense for buckling down and saving that game, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You got any others, Joey? I got a few small ones.
I know you do have some small ones. I don't want to step on your feet with that.
You said that. Really? I know you do have some small ones. What's that mean?
The last hit, because I know what your misses are going to be. Shout out to the crowd in the West section for being here. It was miserable out there. Just the wind was awful. The snow. Credit to all of them for showing up. And also that's not some shot at people who didn't. I get it. If you didn't want to, one, sit in it, and two, you couldn't get there for that. But I thought it reminded me of the Wisconsin snow game for basketball a couple years ago. When it gets to be that froggy outside and you only have a few people who show up, it kind of creates this weird kind of mix of like fun, like very, very intimate atmosphere because everyone's just kind of there, probably pretty drunk, just like having just that cool moment. Like it's not full, but you still feel the energy of that. So shout out to them, and shout out to the grounds crew who worked literally all day long to keep that field clean. And we watched it for 4 hours, like watching some sort of like game, or I don't even know what it was, just to see them clear it, go back, unclear it, go back, unclear it. It was shovels, it was tractors, it was golf carts, it was a whole 9 yards. And then the players just stomping the snow into the turf. But they really did a lot of legwork, and I hope that came through on the broadcast. Hope it comes through now, how much work that they put in to just physically make that field as good as it could be in bad conditions.
Yeah, shout out to Tim Knox, his facilities crew, working since 6 a.m. this morning, fighting this storm, which was, again, a record for an Illinois football game. Like, this was unprecedented. They had hundreds of people working to clear this, to just pull this game off. And it stinks that a lot of fans couldn't be here, but I'm glad a lot of people stayed home and were safe. But the people who showed up, man, they had a memory. Like this is going to be something that's a memory. And I know our guy, Robert Rosenthal, the Illini board, this was his game. Like, this is his people, the diehards of Illinois football showed up, and you made it a really cool atmosphere. And it was kind of because Illinois won, it's going to be one of those cool moments, and one of those cool moments as a fan if you were actually in this building. But facilities crew, just shout out to all those people that worked so hard to get this place playable, man. Because it did not look playable, and it looked, when I walked in the stadium, I know people saw the video, like it was insane, and I didn't know how they were going to play a football game, and they did. And shout out to all the players who were idiots for the game, not wearing shirts. I don't understand it. The dad in me, Joey.
Oh, you're such an old person.
Put some sleeves on, guys. I can't understand it. It's all psychological. I get it. But Josh Krutz had a lot of fun, Joey. He told me he had a lot of fun, which is no surprise.
Josh, he said this week, he said, I'd love a snow game. It was in fact, he won a state championship on this field at Loyola Academy in the snow. Did he bring that up post game at all?
Think so.
No, he did do that. He was walking around with the Land of Lincoln trophy and had they all had like Lincoln hats they gave around after the game. He really, really enjoyed that. But yeah, good for that. Your old man ranting about the sleeves. I just look at it like I'm not nearly strong enough I would wither within 1 second. And you're like, these kids, like I'm
a house cat, man.
Yeah, I'm just soft, man.
A few other little misses. The DPI call on Torrey Cox. That was phenomenal coverage. So Torrey, you did not deserve that one. And I just, if the game would have been a loss, I probably would have asked about this. Bielema's challenge of that first down call and the spot on it, I just didn't see the upside of it. I just didn't see the upside of challenging that one, because it would have been 3rd and like inches. And listen, anything can happen, but I just didn't feel like using a timeout or a challenge in this close of a game. And he didn't win it, so he lost it. But you also wiped out a 1-yard run on 2nd down. Ended up not mattering because Miles Scott got another interception, but I just kind of a weird challenge in the moment. So I still want to overlook it.
Yeah, I didn't think the payout was worth the risk on. If you get it before, that's, I guess in reality they did get that in before that second down call, and if the refs caught them doing that, then it was just going to happen anyway. And that's what I wonder, if there was some not miscommunication, but if Brett had known that, hey, how do I want to phrase it? I don't know if he had the choice to say, yeah, go ahead and go for it, or well, we caught you challenging that, so sorry. Because I do think if he had the choice, he would have said, hey, nope, never mind. I'll take 2nd and 9, and we'll just go on to the next play. I don't know that to be true, but I do wonder if they said, hey, we saw you throw that. The play got off before we were able to stop it, but we have to review this because we saw you. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, just an odd call, in my opinion. All right, you got anything else left, Joey, before we get to some of these super chats?
I got nothing, man. That was fun to see a snow globe game.
Yeah, the other thing I want to say is just what a win for this senior class to go out on. Think about the program that Dylan Rosiak, right, committed to, Josh Kreutz and Josh Geske. They committed to Lovie Smith. They signed to Illinois without a head coach, and they've now won 4 or 5 games against Northwestern. Illinois has been tweeting out all these stats of the last 5 years, the last 4 years, how many wins Illinois has spent since 1990 or 1984 or whatever it is. What a great moment for those guys, for Gabe Ackus and Matthew Bailey potentially, and all these guys to have 3 8-win seasons over the last 4 years and be the first group to do that ever at Illinois. Listen, there's not this isn't the Devin Witherspoon, Sidney Brown draft class, but there's a handful of guys that are going to get drafted. A couple more that are going to have a chance to play in the NFL. And guys just got better and better and poured their all into this program. And Luke Altmaier, obviously a huge part of that as well. But just what a senior class this was. And this will be the class kind of like how you think of Trent Frazier and DeMonte Williams and all those guys. They just took the program to another level and set the foundation of what this program is. Obviously, the holdovers from Lovie and all those guys that helped get that 8-win season and took Illinois to that spot. And then this class is just built on that foundation. So just a great win for those guys to go out in Memorial Stadium in this moment.
Yeah, I think the thing that I was thinking about this week and try to how to frame that is, obviously that 22 team had a lot of guys who were so instrumental, and really 21, some of the holdovers, and you don't want to overlook some of those guys who weren't around for 22. Your Doug Kramers, your Vidarian Lowe's. You think of that 22 team with Sidney Brown, Quan Martin, Devin Witherspoon, Kendall Smith played really well, Chase Brown, Alex Palczewski, Keith Randolph, Johnny Newton, Isaiah Williams. You still had to maintain when those guys left, right? You still had to keep going when you lose so much. And that's a lot of NFL talent that they lost over the course of 2 off seasons. And you still had to maintain and still had to keep pushing this program forward. And obviously new faces helped you do that. Luke Altmaier, JC Davis, Melvin Priestley, Tanner Arkin, those guys helped you do that. But it's also because those your Miles Scotts, your Matthew Baileys, your Josh Kreutz, your Josh Geskes, they kept progressing and they kept pushing forward. I think that is kind of the intersection of that that heavy run of NFL talent between those 2 teams, and then still being an 8-win team, a 10-win team. That there's something to be said about that.
All right, let's wrap up. If you got some super chats, last chance to get these in. We got St. Dom's tweet of the night, or chat of the night. We'll do here.
The St. Dom minute. The St. Dom minute.
And some other salty people as well that I love highlighting. Fonger52, 1999 super chat. Thank you, Fonger. You guys do an incredible job covering the program. Thank you. Thanks for all you do. The defense in the second half was awesome. Got to figure out the offensive line moving forward. Selfishly, I want to see a bowl game in Las Vegas. Great on the defense. Offensive line, first half, phenomenal. Second half, don't know what happened. Got to watch the film, but inconsistent more than I thought it would be this year. But that is one of the offseason priorities we could talk about. But bowl game, Joey, this basically solidifies you're not going to Pinstripe, thank goodness. Not going to the Rate Bowl, not going to Detroit. The way this works, Michigan's probably in the Citrus Bowl.
Correct.
And Iowa went to Music City last year, so they're likely going to go to the ReliaQuest. Going to miss out probably on ReliaQuest. I'd love to go there again. That would mean I think Nashville would be most likely for Illinois, because Washington, they're part of the Pac-12 bowl games right now. So they'll likely go to one of those because there's not obviously any other Pac-12 teams to fill those. And then Las Vegas still is a possibility as well. I think Nebraska would be more likely there. So I think it's going to be Nashville, but ReliaQuest, Vegas are still in play there too.
Yeah, so two things. USC would be the other one. USC is still in the Pac-12 bowl format, so you don't have to worry about them. The first pick for Big Ten is Citrus. The second pick for Big Ten is ReliaQuest. And as you mentioned, those two are spoken for. It's not clear to me, and in talking around a little bit, I don't know who has the first pick of Nashville or Las Vegas. I thought it was Nashville. I don't know that it's as clear as what I thought coming into today. So that could be interesting if Nashville says, hey, we'll take actually Nebraska here and roll with that. That's still a possibility, which would push Illinois to Las Vegas. I believe Las Vegas also can take Washington. And if Las Vegas were to take Washington, Washington and Illinois cannot play in a bowl game because they played in the regular season against one another, which would be even more for Nebraska to go to Vegas. So I would guess Nashville. I know it's a lot of different scenarios and moving around. I don't mean to be confusing about it.
No, it's great.
But I think it's going to be Nashville, but I don't know that the door is entirely shut.
Don't book your stuff yet.
Right. I don't know.
I think the odds are there.
Yeah. So I would feel relatively, okay about thinking it's that, but for goodness sakes, don't book any flights yet. You just hold off. Literally just hold off.
But Werner and Wagner said.
Actually, you only have to hold off 7 days now. We've talked into Sunday, but I think that's going to be the most likely. I would be unbelievably surprised if it's anything other than Nashville or Las Vegas.
Yeah, we will find out December 7th after the college football playoff is announced. But, boy, that feels a lot better in New York, man. December 30th in Nashville, a short drive. That'd be the second trip for you to Nashville in a month, Joey.
Yeah, and we probably have to do the Broadway ordeal one night, and then we're going to go to bars so we can hear each other speak, and we can sit down. Really, if we can sit down. I don't know if I care to hear you speak.
Really an old man podcast talking about why aren't you wearing sleeves.
The music can be as loud as possible. I just want to sit. The conversation is not important. Sitting is.
All right, let's get to a couple more of these super chats. Dat Boy from Illinois, $4.99 super chat. Always been a basketball only fan, but I really enjoyed following along the football season thanks to your coverage. I'll be back next year. Yeah, college football, Joey. It's pretty fun when you got a team that can win games in the Big Ten. I know they didn't win enough games to satisfy everyone's high hopes, but Illinois played a really interesting season. Ended up with more Big Ten wins than they lost, and it's fun to cover a program that matters, man. And it's still amazing what Brett Bielema has done. Like, he has just done a really, really, really good job with his program. And obviously next, he's got to do more to take it up to that next level. And now 8 wins is the expectation for Illinois. And 8 wins will not be easy next year with everything you lose, particularly your quarterback. But now the bar is that. Like, that is what Illinois fans are going to expect moving forward. And this offseason is all about how do you take it up another notch. It's not easy.
Yeah, I'm with you on all that. I do want to say, like, seeing that one come through really kind of hit right. Because we know what basketball means in covering Illinois athletics. It's everything, right? I mean, that's what everyone cares about is Illinois basketball. But football's a lot of fun, and we put a lot into covering this, whether it's time, whether it's energy, whether it's effort, and to know that people care enough to listen to us talk, to listen to our jokes, to read what our writing is, like that's hugely meaningful to me. And I appreciate that a ton, because you could be doing something else at 12:30 on a snowy Sunday, and you're hanging out talking
people
sports at midnight. And like, yeah, we can read some of the comments and get a little feisty. And I get it. And I hope a lot of people understand that. I hope you understand it's in fun, and it's kind of having some back and forth here. And if you don't, I'm sorry, but that one really meant a lot. That was cool to see.
Yeah, we ain't always right, but this is the way we like to cover the team. And we have a lot of fun with it. And we've invested a lot over the last 10 years, covered a lot of games, Joey, that were bad. Like, spent a lot of money traveling around following a team that wasn't very good. It was a really bad team. And it's because this matters. This matters to this Illinois athletics department. You cannot tell the story of Illinois athletics without Illinois football. And Illinois football being good just opens up so much for the rest of this athletics department, including the basketball program, women's basketball, all these other sports, to be good, because this thing is the moneymaker. This is the most important thing. And in this era of college athletics, Joey, I talked about it with Josh a couple of years ago. there's going to be some contraction, right? Like the Super League feels like it's going to happen at some point, and you got to be above that cut line. And with Brett Bielema raising the standard of this program, Illinois is a valuable property in the Big Ten and one of the most important conferences, and it has solidified itself above that cut line. So that always has to be in the back of your head, and that's why you got to cover the hell out of this program like we do. And that's going to be a really important offseason. Recruiting, huge signing day. Brett Bielema already hyping it up. It's going to be a really good class with some guys that can make an impact early on. But most importantly, I think it's a class that can lift this program if you continue to stack these type of classes. Top 25 classes, 4-star recruits. You need that next level of talent. And the talent they got coming in, there's some guys with potential that, are potential top 100 kind of draft picks. You need to get more of those caliber of players. And guys like Nick Hankins, guys like Jacob Eberhardt, Nasir Rankin, and they're hoping to add some more in the days before signing day. It's really important to keep raising that bar, and Brett Bielema's doing it on the recruiting trail, and I think 8 wins can help you push that forward. And if you go to Nashville and play an SEC program and beat an SEC team for the second straight year, or that's LSU or Tennessee or Vanderbilt, I guess Vanderbilt's trying to college football playoff now, but like any programs like that, it'd be another monster win for this program to help them push forward heading into the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's huge. It's momentum, and maybe it won't be the preseason, off-season momentum of last year, and obviously that didn't play out to be what was thought it could be. You still have momentum if you could come off a 9-win year, if you could have some, you're not going to have the 18 returning starters. If you can get a couple of those guys back and get some of that buzz, that's a really, really big deal. And maybe you don't get the national hoopla that you got this offseason, but what matters is if recruits, high school, JUCO, portal, if they see it and they feel that momentum, that is incredibly meaningful.
Should we do the St. Tom minute?
I haven't seen him post. He might not still be here. I'd hate to. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
St. Tom, thank goodness the season is over.
This guy's in 10 Illinois podcasts on YouTube a night, and he's thrilled that this is over. Dom, thanks for hanging out, man. But
he's sure for a guy who's so down on this program, man. He's very invested in watching content about it. So
hey, man, I'm not going to.
We appreciate your patronage.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain for anyone hanging out with us as routinely as Dom has. And Dom, I'm glad this nightmare of a season has finally come to an end for you. It must have been very difficult to endure.
You know who else is probably happy the season is over is Whitney and Tiffany. Our significant others probably very happy about that.
Basketball is its own different beast in coverage. But now that
football's a grind, man.
Less crossovers, you get a couple weekends that pop open here or there in basketball season. And that feels like literally it feels like the first day of spring when that happens.
You want to go to another one that's going to get us riled up?
Oh,
just for fun. Anton Chigurh, one of the greatest characters in film history, by the way. Are you two going to stop glazing Brett and ask him some tough questions, Joey?
That's how we're going to open all of our questions moving forward.
Brett, I'm angry. And listen, our job. I just want people to know, our job is not to yell at the head coach. Okay, that's not our job. You guys can do that. You guys can tweet at him. You can do all that stuff if you want. Our job is to get answers out of him. And I dare you to go back to any press conference and listen to them and count up how many of the tough questions come from Illini Inquirer. I'm very proud of how we go about covering this team. And we do ask pointed questions. We ask the questions you guys want to know. Who was the ones asking Luke Altmaier and Gabe Backus about bowl game? That was us, right? And who's usually asking about his coordinator or coaching changes or issues in the game? It's usually us. So I'm proud of the way we cover the team. Sorry we don't yell at him. Sorry we don't ask the questions you want, but I think we do the job the right way. So.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that come through. Whatever, man. Like that's fine. And there's so much. I don't even want to because I am proud of the questions we asked and how we go about it.
Listen, I see people in the chat like saying you guys do great. I'm not asking for that. There are people out there who think this is the way the job works. Maybe some people want to do the job that way. I don't. I want to get answers out of Brett. All right. Like I want to get actual insight into what he's thinking or what Brad Underwood is thinking. And that's the way there's a way to do that. And we've been doing this job a long enough job to know how to try and do that.
Yeah, and look, I'll also stand up. I'll be the first one to sit here and say that we screwed up how
We
we
forgot.
phrased the question. We forgot to ask something that's like, if you're watching from home, you're like, how in the world do you forget to do that? I will be the first to tell you that you and I have unquestionably left pressers and said we really screwed up by not asking
Or
something
we
like
as a
that.
beat, right? Like as a
Yeah,
collective beat didn't
yeah.
ask that one question that needed to be asked. And we don't control every question. We try not to hog it because we're not the only ones trying to do it. But there's times that we do miss and don't ask a specific question as a collective beat.
Yeah, and here, I get it, man. If you don't think it's harsh enough, if it's not, that's fine. That's your prerogative. I kind of quit letting that get me as fired up as our guy Bert did last Saturday when we were in Madison. I'm proud of how we do it. I'm proud of what we do, and I'm proud that we do it well enough to have people come in here and hang out with us.
That's right.
And the fact that people give a damn what we say, what we did ask, what we didn't ask, what we write, that's kind of more telling to me than a couple comments coming through here.
Yeah. All right. Kingsley, what does your gut say about Aaron Henry's job next season? I'm confused. I don't know, Joey.
I don't know.
After that first half, I was like, listen, because at moments throughout the season, I'm like, you got to make a change. You got to make a change. And I still think he's got to seriously look at, do I need to upgrade? And I'm sure Brett's considered that a lot. He gave Aaron a lot of shout outs after the game today. And Aaron had 3 out of the last 4 games against not so good offenses. So Rutgers is pretty good. Did a really good job. I didn't like the first half today. Didn't like some of those calls, but his defense did find a way to respond after some of those bad games. But those bad games got to stop happening. They have to stop happening. Washington was a disaster. Wisconsin, they weren't the only issue. It was still a disaster. Like that first drive, just unfathomable. I didn't like the personnel on the Darian Dupree touchdown run. I think they could potentially do better. I just don't know if Brett's going to do that or not. I really don't have a read right now.
No, and I know that's a cop out. I know someone wants to hear a definitive yes or no. So I don't know. Like I'm with you.
Me personally, I would probably lean towards making a change, right? Like that's what because I just don't know if he is the coordinator to take you to the next level. But there's enough in there at times. There's enough of Brett, him being Brett's guy, that makes me doubt it.
Yeah, hearing what he said post game, I thought, oh, okay, maybe this might alter how I feel. I don't know. Like I would say what I would. I don't know that you'll think you'll know anything before Wednesday. Like I think getting through signing day is the biggest thing possible for any program.
Probably after a bowl announcement, right?
Yeah, any change, and this isn't just Aaron. This is any coach. Yeah. You probably don't want your bowl announcement dominated by questions about why you've made a change at X, Y, or Z position. They can control that, right? Like that. Getting that out there is something they can control. I wish I had a better read. I really, truly do not.
Over the whole though, the season, the defense was not good enough.
No,
the defense,
it wasn't.
For the most part, kept you from reaching your potential with Luke Altmaier because this offense was most times college football worthy. There's some ugly games here the last 2 games, but mostly this offense, your offensive coordinator, your quarterback, was college football playoff worthy. I don't think your offensive line was. But your quarterback and OC gave you a chance and your defense let you down in the Washington game mostly, right? Like the Indiana game was a complete failure. Ohio State offense probably wasn't good enough in that one to win the game. Special teams wasn't good enough. But Washington, I thought your offense was good enough to win that game, but your defense didn't give them a chance. And then Wisconsin, your offense wasn't good enough. Your defense wasn't good enough. So maybe it should have been more of a 9-win team if the defense played well, but have a chance at 10 wins. But your defense let you down for a second time in 3 years. And it's not a great resume for Aaron.
No, and Aaron said as much after the Washington game, right? I mean, he knew it. So we'll find out together. And I'm not trying to avoid giving an answer. I don't want to. If I had a better pulse, I would give one on that. But you're right. It needs to be better. And the end of the season numbers are going to look much better in part because of these last 4 games than what the eye test told us over the course of a full season. And I think that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, Sean, $5 super chat. We have to upgrade at DC or be left behind. We returned everyone and got worse. What would it be like when we lose a bunch of guys next year with Henry? That's my concern. And I don't know what your identity is defensively, right? Like I don't know what you are. And there's just too many times I feel like there's too much in the defenders' heads where they're not playing fast enough. That's on the coordinator. And there's too many times I'm questioning the third downs are just inexcusable. Like 3 years of being 45% plus conversion rate in the third and longs this year killed you. Just absolutely killed you. So there are many reasons why you should make a change. I would lean towards making a change. I don't know how Brett Bielema feels.
Yeah, I don't either. I think you could really make a pretty clear argument that it's time for a different voice there. But what matters is what Brett Bielema says, and I just think we'll wait a few days before we know that. A few days is the earliest, right? I don't know anything beyond that.
All right, on Monday, I'll catch up with Jay Lehman. We'll talk a lot about the offseason ahead. We'll hit on this game as well. We're coming up on an hour. I want to wrap things up. But Joey and I will get together after signing day, talk about that class, talk about the offseason as well. So we got plenty coming up on the Illini Inquirer podcast. If you're not a VIP member, we appreciate everyone who just listens to the podcast, watches us on YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe. It helps us out immensely. But if you're not a VIP member, now is a great time to sign up. We'll have some buzz on both football and basketball recruiting here coming up. Some big days ahead as Illinois is going big fish hunting for a couple prep guys still left on the board, some JUCO guys who've been visiting. So we'll have the latest on that. 75% off right now for a VIP membership. No better time to sign up. That's more $90 of savings. So if you're not a VIP member, that is the best way to support what we do. But give us a like on YouTube as you guys get out of here. Follow us wherever you get your podcast. We'll have plenty of coming up at IlliniInquirer.com about this game as well. So for Joey Wagner, I'm Jeremy Werner. Everybody have a great day. Take care of each other. We'll talk to you next time on the Illini Inquirer podcast.